I'm Blake Gianella, and I'm a graduating senior at LaSalle High School. At LaSalle, I was involved in football, for one thing. That was pretty much my only extracurricular activity at LaSalle, sports-wise. I never really got into any clubs at LaSalle, and I think that's because a lot of my hobbies outside of school contradicted with things I do in clubs, just because the things I do outside of school, hobbies-wise, take up a lot of my time, as well as working. At LaSalle, I was involved in, I really put most of my effort towards school, and that's what made sports harder. Whereas I could have played baseball, lacrosse, and football like I did in 8th grade. I decided to just play football for my first 3 years at LaSalle because I wanted to put more of my time towards school than sports. And I took more value in that, and I took more value in getting work experience throughout my time at LaSalle, outside of LaSalle, but just gaining work experience through high school instead of playing sports year round. My plans for the future are I'm going to OSU in the fall, and I'm going to be majoring in political science because that's something I've always been interested in politics. I've always liked arguing politics. And after that, I'd like to go to law school. I don't know where I'd like to go yet, but I know I'd like to go to law school and become a lawyer of some sort and be an attorney, possibly, but we'll see where that goes after law school. There's the two academic experiences I'm going to explain are both like hardships I've had while learning, but things that have definitely helped me grow later in high school. And my first one would be, I remember I had English 2 with Mr. Dreisbach his sophomore year. And previously I had Miss Elliott freshman year, and I always kind of struggled in English, but I never really went in for help. And I don't know if it was I just didn't feel comfortable with that teacher or what, but I just never felt comfortable going in for help, and I felt like no one else was doing that in my class either. And then when I got into English 2, I remember we got our first essay, and my grade, I got like a 63%, and that was like, I'd never done that bad on something, so it was kind of just an eye-opener. But then I found out that like the average grade in the class was a D. So it made me feel a little better, but I definitely knew I had some things to work on because obviously my writing skills weren't as developed as some of the other students, because some students did do well, but although most of the class didn't do that well. And for some reason, I don't know. I knew I wanted to do better than that. And I knew if I went the rest of the year finishing on things like that, I wouldn't have a good grade in the class. And I wanted to make myself proud and do good in that class because I like writing, especially now. But I pushed myself, and I went in and I talked to Mr. Dreisbach, and I remember I think I revised that essay and I got like a B minus on it, which I wanted to do better than that, and I thought I was going to do better than on that, and I didn't. But really, it was probably the best thing he could have done for me because that kept pushing me to get better. And throughout that whole year in both semesters, I remember just getting a little bit better grade on each essay or each writing assignment we were doing. And for every one of those, I was going in and talking with Mr. Dreisbach and getting help and getting feedback on my writing. And it really helped me even going into other classes. I was going and getting help with other teachers and I was being less self-conscious of my writing or just any academic skills, and it was making it a lot easier for me to go in and get help. But I remember, so that was my hardship, but at the end of the year, we had a few essays we did. We did like like an argumentative essay, which we did with a partner, and I remember doing really well on that. I think I got an A. And then we had our final, which it was like the longest piece of writing I'd ever written. I'd worked harder on that than anything I'd ever really worked hard on in school, period. And it meant a lot to me because I knew how much time and effort I put into it, and I ended up getting a 92% on it or something, which even now, like, I should have done better, I guess, but I know that helped me a lot in the long run with just being able to feel comfortable going into Mr. Dreisbach's class and getting help and knowing where I need to fix things. And it just made me a much better writer through that whole year. And it made or junior and senior year English a breeze. I remember going into Mr. Kane's class junior year thinking I was going to need help on essays, and I'd go in and he'd be like, if you're preparing like this, you'll be fine. And sure enough, on the first essay and essays after that, I was getting A's and revising. I to points where I really didn't even have to revise, especially on my my research essay. I thought, I don't know why, but I thought the whole time I was going to do bad on it. And part of it was I felt like I didn't prepare enough for the topics, but I knew I still put a lot of time into it. But sure enough, I did it and I got a really good grade. I got, I think, like a 97%. And I was just really proud of that. And then my second academic experience would be taking AP Physics my senior year. Even though I knew I wasn't going to be majoring in a science in college, I just wanted something to push myself. And it was really hard. It was definitely the hardest class I've ever taken at LaSalle. Even though there wasn't a lot of outside work we had to do, it was just really hard to manage everything I was learning because a lot of the kids in my class had already been through calculus, either A, B, or BC, and everything they were doing was just really easy for them. But I just had to work through that and learn it in my own different ways. So one extracurricular experience that changed me at LaSalle would be playing football, just because it took up a lot of my time and it made it harder for me to, it made it harder for me to get a lot of my homework done. And I had to get used to staying up later at night, getting homework done, and feeling more tired in the mornings. And that definitely took an effect on my grades a little bit, but I think that I pushed through it pretty well. Okay, I'm gonna go right to the banner because I'm running out of time. But I chose the banner, push your limits and prepare for life, because I feel like the more you push your limits in high school and in your younger years, although it's going to be harder as you get older, it's definitely going to make it a lot easier for you as you get older, as long as if you push yourself when you're younger. Some advice I would give to incoming ninth graders. I would tell incoming ninth graders to just be yourself at LaSalle, and even if you don't make a bunch of friends right away, if you're yourself and you find there's people that don't like you for who you are, you're also going to find people that do like you for who you are, even if they don't agree with you. Even if you guys are polar opposites, you're going to find people at LaSalle that will still be friends with you, that can still agree with you on most terms, on friendship terms, and on just being friends with people. It's not everything has to be so divided, and you'll always find people that will support you no matter what you believe or what you stand up for.